Welcome to the future of real estate. Your chance to find out what's going on in real estate and the real estate market. This morning's show is brought to you by the Ellis team at RE/MAX Realty Group. RE/MAX's award winner for most transactions in Florida.
With the Ellis team at RE/MAX, it's a family affair. Always call the Ellis team, they'll handle you with care.
Good morning and welcome to the future of real estate. I'm Brett Ellis of the Ellis team at RE/MAX Realty Group. I'm joined today by my mother and father, Sandy and Mike Ellis. If you haven't joined us before, you're in for a real treat. On this show, we talk about real estate issues affecting you. We offer tips and insight you won't get anywhere else. Each week, we present you with our featured properties of the week. Now, if you hear about a property that sounds interesting, or if you'd like information on other properties, regardless of which company has a listing, agents are standing by right now. You can always give us a call at 239-489-4042, and we'll be happy to take your call and give you the information you'd like. Now, if you're a seller and you'd like your home listed here, you can call us too. Being listed with the Ellis team and featured on this radio show is great exposure and just another example of the many ways we make your home stand out from the crowd. Our phone number again is 239-489-4042. We're going to get to our listings a little bit later on in the show. I want to talk about, by the way, for those who have joined us the last couple weeks, the show is being simulcast on our radio stations. We're on 3 radio stations in Lee, Collier, Charlotte, Henry counties. It's AM 1240 up in the Fort Myers area and 1270 down in Collier County, Marco Island, that sort of thing. And I think it's FM 92.5. But the main thing is we're also broadcasting this on the internet. If you go to topagent.com for our radio show listeners, when we talk about these properties, or if we share some graphs or some market stats, we're able to throw it up on screen now and kind of show you what's going on, and we'll be talking about it. And it's a great way. So now this medium hits worldwide, but also we're able to show exactly what's going on. It kind of brings another dimension, I think, to the show and makes it real, where you can actually see what's going on.
Well, even if you're in the car, listen on the radio, and that one property really sounds like what you've been looking for, you can go back and check it out on the...
Well, over the years, we've had a lot of requests for the stats and the graphs and stuff that we use for our show, and now we're able to put them up, and you can go in on our website and look at them.
Well, and
anytime you want to.
Our website's always had a lot of stats, but not always the exact same graphs we custom create for what we're doing. And now you're able to see the custom created graphs that aren't necessarily on the website, but that website's got a whole host of information if you want it.
If you want real estate information, go to our website.
Well, let's talk about today's news press.
Okay.
And we write, as you know, a featured article in that in the Home Finder section each week. And this section, last week we talked about the 9 tips you need to know on how to buy a foreclosure property. So this week we decided to write about, we've been writing about distressed sales, but we want to focus specifically on short sales because the banks have been getting a lot of heat. Are they accepting these short sales? And I know we've been getting a lot of them through, but you got to know what you're doing.
You do, and you have to have a lot of patience along the way because they haven't, even though they're cooperating on the short sales, the process has not necessarily moved ahead quicker. I think it's slowed down over the past year.
Slowed down, and yet we've got some anecdotal evidence that shows more short sales are actually closing and going through, which it's a first positive sign we've seen in terms of short sales. So maybe if we can cut to the graph, I'll kind of show you exactly what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
So basically, what these lines represent is the blue line is the Cape Coral area. And, of course, it's been leading the area in foreclosure. It's been leading the area in short sales.
And obviously because there were so many sales there during that time frame. And
then Fort Myers is the red line, and Lehigh Acres is the green line. But if you'll notice one thing, if we're going back to May, back in May, we had a number of basically short sales that were going through. But look at what's going on now. There's a definite upward trend. In some cases, almost over 100% increase. Look at Fort Myers. It was down around 30-some, and now I think it was like 73, 74. I've got the exact numbers in the News Press article this week. But basically, you're seeing a definite rise in banks looking at their options.
Now, are these showing short sales that are actually completed, or these are
closings
people in the process?
Oh, these
so
are
these
closings.
are closed sales
there's many
based
more.
on short sales, right?
There's many more
right.
In the process, but basically, we're able to show you kind of exactly how many are closing by month, so that we've seen an upward rise. And I think that's a positive step. Now, in the article, we talk about some of the things banks must look out for. I mean, they don't just approve short sales in a day, and there's a reason. They want to make sure they're selling it at or close to fair market value. They don't want to give more of their losses away than they need to. They also want to make sure a family member is not trying to buy the property
and stay in the property, right? They definitely want what we call
make sure there's no fraud.
Arm's length transaction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They want to make sure that the seller has financial hardship and is not. And by the way, the definition of hardship to a lender is not, hey, I'm upside down.
Right.
It's got to be,
Correct.
You can't afford this thing.
Yeah.
And
so actually, the person seeking the short sale has to write a hardship letter, and the hardship letter has to define to the bank exactly what that hardship is.
But it's more than just a hardship letter, because everyone thinks they can just write a hardship letter, give a sob story, and the bank will say, oh, okay, there's hardship. And that's not true. As a matter of fact, in our short sale packages, we require a complete set of financials because the bank is going to come back and ask for it later.
Right.
You might as well get them now and update them if you need to versus kind of being sidetracked later on and then delaying the process even more.
Yeah, you don't want a surprise. And it definitely delays it because the length of time that, let's say you started the short sale process today, and perhaps it took 3 or 4 months to get through it. At the end of the 4th month, if you found out that all your ducks weren't in a row, you might have to start over and go another 4 months. So it's a...
You know, a short sale is hard enough to do it right the first time. You
Right,
certainly don't want to
correct.
do it a second or third time.
Correct.
And time runs out.
Time
because
does run out.
when the clock is up, they foreclose.
Yeah.
And you don't ever really want that to happen to you. So, and I think there's a lot of agents who've been reticent to show short sales in the past because it is a cumbersome process. It's not for every buyer. And also because listing agents didn't always understand the process. There's 2 points I want to make here. If the listing agents don't have the complete package put together,
Right.
then the buyer agent's like, well, if I don't have confidence in the listing agent, I'm not even going to show it because they're wasting our time.
But even when everything is put together properly, there's glitches, there's things that happen, there's lender kind of screw-ups, I guess I would say, because sometimes they have a delay in getting the package together. Sometimes you send this package to them 3 or 4 different times.
Well, having a wholly competent listing agent is no guarantee of success.
No.
But I'll also say this. Listing agents have gotten better trained, better educated. They've got better at putting their packages together and better at qualifying their sellers, better at doing their BPOs up front, looking at the whole package. But banks are also getting better because you have to understand they shifted from one environment to another, and they didn't have the people, the place, the systems. They were overloaded.
And some of them are still shifting. I mean, I perceive that some of these people have hundreds of files sitting on their desk.
Well, they do. I think they do. That's true.
And they just can't get to them all.
Now, one of our banks that we work with has gone to an online system to help manage that paperwork that's up to here.
Which helps.
It helps because now you got 15 people touching this file, and as agents, we're one of the people. You've got lenders, you've got title company people, you've got attorneys, you've got appraisers, you've got other BPO agents, many people inside the bank looking at it, loss mitigators, negotiators, all these kinds of things look at the same file. It's imperative you have a system, and I think the banks have just now, some of them, gotten around to getting good systems in place.
Well, and I agree with that. The other thing that I think has made a huge difference is that designation that we have, the Certified Distressed Property Expert, CDPE. So, if you're contemplating putting your house on the market as a short sale, I would definitely say either talk with us or talk to another CDPE.
But not all CDPEs have a lot of experience. And you got to have someone that's got experience actually putting these deals together.
That's true. That makes a huge difference. But at least they have the tools to work with.
At least, yes. So I'll tell you what, we could talk about short sales for a long time, but unfortunately we need to take a break. You're listening to the future of you're listening to the future of real estate. We're simulcasting today on 3 radio stations and our video webcast, which can be found at topagent.com. We're the Ellis team at RE/MAX, and we'll be right back.